Today we're going to be taking a closer look at a new release by Makido. It is a dive watch, a compressor style diver, and this is now the second watch of theirs you will have seen featured on my channel. I was quite impressed with the previous one. I reviewed a Miyota 9000 series powered all stainless steel sports watch, integrated bracelet. Yeah, it was very nice. Very thin, under 9mm thick, that watch. This one, NH35 powered diver. Yeah, this one's not so thin. But then you wouldn't expect it to be because it is a diver and it's a compressor style diver, so you have the bezel underneath the crystal, and that can on occasions make them just a little bit chunkier. But this watch still shares a lot of design elements with the previous watch that I've reviewed, which is quite nice. It's a sort of fairly distinctive style, isn't it, from this brand? And if you go on their website, you'll see, yeah, those design elements seem to continue through to most of their other watches. Now, there is something that they've done with this watch that sort of caught me off guard a little bit. They said they were going to send me this watch before I'd even seen a picture of it, and then when it turned up, I unboxed it and saw that it has two crowns, which isn't unusual for a compressor style diver, but there's one on the left and one on the right, and that is a little bit unusual, even for a compressor style diver. Most of the time you'll see both crowns on one side of the case, not one either side, and I'm not convinced by it, to be honest. I think there's a reason why the crowns tend to appear on one side of the case, and that is so when the watch is on your wrist you can operate both crowns with your free hand. And so with this watch, you're gonna have to potentially take the watch off your wrist to operate the crown on the inside, if that makes sense. But that's not the only issue with it. I'm just not convinced it looks right. I have to applaud them for trying something different, but yeah, on this occasion, for me anyway, it is a personal thing. Of course, it's a sort of aesthetic that you either like or you don't. You might be indifferent to it, perhaps. Yeah, for me, it just doesn't work. But if it works for you, then great, and there are a lot of other things to like about this watch. It's relatively affordable. They're launching this watch for around £300, I believe. If you sign up to their newsletter, you'll get 10% off your first order off any watch, I believe. And they occasionally have sales where you can pick up their watches for 30% off. Yeah, that's almost a third off, which is pretty decent. So that would drop the price of this watch to just over £200, which for an NH35 powered 200-meter compressor style diver built to this sort of level is decent value for money. And the bracelet on this one, again, like the other one, it sort of steals the show. These integrated bracelet watches are all the rage at the moment, understandably. Manufacturers are following trends, and yeah, these are trending at the moment, aren't they? And like the other watch, the finishing seems really good. A lot of polished facets on the case and on the bracelet, so it's quite a sort of blingy, decorative, dressy diver, if you like. The brushing is quite strong. I don't mind that. Yeah, it contrasts very nicely with the polished accents. So lots of light play on this bracelet. Obviously, when you're doing a bit of a wrist roll outside, yeah, it looks really good. The downside, though, is they've provided this watch with a butterfly clasp, like the other one, and it's a dive watch. I think people generally prefer dive-style watches to have the more traditional three-piece clasps. And sadly, like the other watch, there's no half links either. That is a real shame, isn't it? Yeah. You never know, they might offer half links in the future, but at the time of filming this, yeah, they weren't available. They're not supplied with the watch, and there's no option to buy them separately. Now, that's not going to put everybody off from buying these sorts of watches, but I know in the past I've read comments from you guys saying, yeah, basically no half links, then no purchase, because you know, how are you gonna be more confident that you're gonna get a decent fit? And with a heavier watch like this, I think it's even more important that you get a perfect fit, which is why quite often, in fact more and more these days, we are seeing affordable dive watches with clasps that have on the fly adjustments. So not only are you able to add and remove links, but yeah, when you're out and about, you can also finely adjust the length of the bracelet to make sure the watch is always fitting perfectly, because, you know, our wrists, they swell up and shrink down quite a bit, don't they? Well, I know mine does. But despite that issue, the bracelet is beautiful. And of course, I'll say it again, you do get that continuation of the bracelet when you have a butterfly clasp. And yeah, these bracelets are really, really nice. Fantastic build quality, solid links, solid end links. Well, they're not really end links, are they? It's integrated screw pins, great case construction as well, sapphire crystal, screw down crowns, screw down both crowns, by the way, screw down crowns, screw down case back, display case back, mineral crystal in that case back, sapphire at the front, mineral in the back, which, you know, is, I guess, expected to some degree. Yeah, we have seen affordable watches with sapphire sandwiches, but yeah, not with this watch, sadly. And like the previous watch of theirs that I reviewed, really nice bezel. Well, this watch has got sort of two bezels, doesn't it? It's got that outer steel bezel, which has a really large flat brushed surface on top and a polished surface around the outside, which is really, really nice. Obviously, you've got the internal bezel, but yeah, the steel finishing on the case looks really, really good. Applied indices are nice. They all seem to be lined up nicely. Good length to the hands as well. Bit of texture on the dial. Date complication at the 3 o'clock. Splash of colour on that internal rotating bezel and the seconds hand, which is nice. And yeah, it does seem to be a beautifully made compressor style dive watch. And it's definitely different, isn't it? Yeah, there's quite a few unique elements to this watch, elements that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see on a dive watch. So yeah, I do applaud the brand for trying something a little bit different. So guys, let me know what you think of this watch in the comments section. Are the things that I've complained about justified? Am I justified in complaining about these things? And yeah, let me know, guys, what you think, good and bad. I'm sure they would appreciate the feedback as well. Right, guys, as always, massive thank you from me to you for tuning in. I do appreciate it.